England have lost to Scotland at Twickenham in the Six Nations for the first time since 1983. But it was no surprise considering how the game started and how it just carried on throughout. The penalty count for England was horrendous. Possibly the worst penalty count I've seen in a Tier 1 rugby union test match ever. First penalty slotted by Finn Russell on 6 minutes. The trend had been set. England just couldn't get going because of the penalties. Yes, their defence, they had targeted Ali Price, and there was a few charge downs there. So there was clearly a game plan of pressurising the half-back combination. We know that Finn Russell's had a troubled relationship with Gregor Townsend, and has only been recently admitted back into the team. Ali Price, he's a bit too slow sometimes at the ruck, so he does open himself up to that charge down, and England decided to attack the half-back pairing, and that is fine. What isn't fine is having 10 penalties given against in the first half, similar count in the second. A yellow card doesn't help things with Vunipola going off. I think it was just a build-up. The referee had warned them. There can be no surprises there. Van der Merwe's try on 30 minutes. They had a little dry run a few minutes before, obviously, with Johnny May packing in the scrum, and it obviously didn't come off. Crossfield kick from Finn Russell. Van der Merwe's try actually just comes from them exploiting the space out wide, because Johnny May has obviously packed the scrum. They're a man down, and they've realised that right defensive channel for England was exposed, and Van der Merwe is a very hard man to stop. He is actually quite a powerful man, and it's a very well worked try. It is. But that was the scoring for Scotland in the first half. 8 points. They should have had more. I think they can be disappointed they didn't score more points. On the England side of things, Farrell slots 2 penalties on 33 and 38 minutes. And yes, Finn Russell had a bit of a brain explosion on 38 minutes with the trip on Ben Youngs. So there's still parts of Finn Russell's game which need improving. Concentration. A few kicks went out on the full. For the most part, though, they were much better in possession than they have been in previous years. They were much more, I wouldn't say conservative. I think they were playing the conditions as well as the opposition, just giving them free ball all the time with penalties and scrum infringements and free kicks. Scotland were the better side with discipline. They obviously had more of the ball, so England were tackling a lot. And when you've got Johnny May and Anthony Watson barely touching the ball, you're doing something right. If you're keeping their strike runners bored and doing nothing, you're doing something right. England's kicking game was poor. Doesn't matter if it's box kicks, clearing kicks, territory kicks. Too often it went down to Stuart Hogg's neck of the woods, and he gets unchallenged ball and he can run it back and start a counter-attack. Scotland only had 5 or 6 line breaks, but it was enough. England, their discipline didn't improve in the second half either. Even though Scotland were down 14 men, they extend their lead with the Russell's only penalty on 48 minutes in the second half. Finn Russell did miss a couple of kicks. Stuart Hogg missed a kick. They left points on the field. They could have won by more. It could have been 19-6 had those kicks gone over. So, again, goal kicking, not great. They had an attempted drop goal or 2 in there. Points were left on the field by Scotland. I think that will disappoint them. Their defence massively improved. England, I don't know where you go from this, but I don't think either of these sides are going to worry France on round 1 appearances. France were brilliant today against Italy. Neither of these sides are going to be worrying the French as things currently stand. I think Scotland still need to improve in a few areas. They need to be a little bit more expansive once they've got that possession stranglehold and they've got the discipline stranglehold and they're making the defence tackle all the time. They can be a bit more expansive. They left points on the field, which is frustrating. England, I don't know where they go from here. They never really challenged the Scotland try line. Their discipline, shocking. And same weaknesses exposed that have been exposed in recent seasons. Their mentality, their discipline is just not good enough. And how this team made a World Cup final a couple of years ago is beyond me. How they won the Six Nations and the Autumn Nations Cup last year is beyond me, because I see that as an aberration looking at this performance. This was a shocking England performance. Scotland, they were conservative, I think, in their possession at times. They had some line breaks, yes. They controlled the ball. They controlled the tempo of the game. Their game management has massively improved from 2 years ago with that 38 all draw. But they have proven they can score 38 points against England 2 years ago. So they proved they can score tries. They've tightened up their defence massively, but the defence wasn't really challenged today if you think about it. Because if your opposition are going to, give you 14 to 20 penalties and give you free ball, you're going to exploit that. So I don't know how much Scotland can actually take from this game apart from the historical win. Yes, they got the win. Yes, they didn't concede any tries, which is important. So that's two positives. And their game management has massively improved. But I don't think England really, in all honesty, tested them enough. I think Scotland didn't get out of third gear, second gear. I think Scotland still have more to give. England are, I don't know. They've seriously got to work in training. They've got to improve their discipline massively if they are to retain their title. I don't see the French being worried by this England side. I don't actually see the French on this Scotland performance being worried at the moment. Scotland can build though, but that infringement count, Jesus, it reminded me again of the game against Wales a couple of years ago, where England were very one-dimensional, and they were today. Their wide players in May and Watson didn't get the ball, which, when you've got strike runners like that, you've got proven try scorers who can unlock defences, that is a head-scratcher. And the kicking, not good enough. Kicking from hand, not good enough. And when they took those two penalties, they had Scotland starting to wobble a little bit. Scotland was starting to infringe themselves. So England's game management was poor, and their choices of taking kick for goal rather than for touch, and then trying to build more momentum and actually keep possession was a bit of a head scratcher. Yes, they want to get points on the board, but beginning of the second half, they infringe and give Scotland the ball, and Scotland can play out the yellow card. It's just really frustrating watching this England side at times. I'm looking forward to Ireland-Wales tomorrow. I think that's going to be a much better game to watch. This at times in the first half, because of England's ill discipline, it was rather unwatchable. It wasn't an even contest in the possession stakes, and England were just dull and dented, and then one-dimensional attack. And Scotland a little bit conservative. I think Scotland have got more to give, but there'll be bigger tests: Ireland, Wales, and France for Scotland in the coming weeks. They've got to build on this and take the lessons they've learned from this, which is, defence was good, game management was good, need to be a bit more expansive. But there we go, thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.